Hey everyone, this is Martin, and we are up to day number 23 on our Build a Roadmap for Yourself Back to the Land video series. And before we get into it, today is going to be on an equipment and tool strategy. And before we get into that, let you know to go down and hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. Turn the notifications to all, that way you'll get all of them and not miss them. And then the next thing is that when we started the series, we decided to stop and write a companion book to go with it that's got the thoughts organized probably a little bit better in there. And you do not need the book to go through the video series. You'll get the information. It's just a little bit better organized here than what my videos typically do. And there's information on how to get the book down below in the description. You can get it through Amazon, or you can get an unedited copy from us that still has typos in it for $3 cheaper. Anyway, so let's get started. Tool and equipment strategy. When you are planning your back to the land journey, there's going to be so many. We're in the middle of deer season down here, so if you hear guns firing, that's what that's all about. So as you're planning your journey back to the land, there's going to be, and as you start thinking about all of the things that you're going to be doing, there's going to be a whole list of tools and equipment that you're going to need to access or obtain in order to achieve all of that if you're doing the self-sufficiency route, where you're going to be planning to do most of that yourself. And using this property here as an example, when we came down here, we knew that we were going to be planning to build the cabin and build everything on this property that was needing to be built, which automatically was going to require a lot of tools and equipment. We also knew that we were going to be primarily heating with wood, so we were going to have to do the firewood gathering and storing. There's just so many things that we had to do. We're going to be building a garden with a greenhouse on it, so we needed to have all of that kind of stuff related to that. But we also knew that as we started planning out our process, and if you go back to one of the earliest episodes here, where it's like planning those steps out or prioritizing those tasks, we knew that when we came down here, the first year was going to necessitate our utility structures and our solar plant and that kind of stuff that needed to be here. It was also going to require that we get a cabin livable enough that we could move into it. And it was also going to require heat by the end of the summer as we went into the fall. And we knew that we had enough wood down here that we weren't going to have to try to cut and pre-cure everything for the next year or 2 years out. We could take dead trees and dead wood that was already here on the property and get by with that. So we didn't have to worry too much about what kind of tools we were going to need for that right away until later on in the fall. And that's kind of the approach that you need to take as you start planning out your journey out back to the land. Even if you think it's going to be a 2 years out or 3 years or 5 year out process, you can still start developing the tools and equipment list of things that you're going to need as you're going to need them in the appropriate priority. So I mean, just to start with, you may ask yourself the question, am I going to be buying land that's got a house structure already on it, or am I going to be building that structure? That'll make a big difference on the tools that you have to account for and plan for. Are you going to be doing a garden? Are you going to be able to start a garden now where you're at, and then just kind of transfer that whole thing over to your permanent property later on? And if that's the case, then you need to have the tools and equipment that enable you to do that right now, but will also benefit you down the road when you get to your land. The same is going to be true for canning supplies or food preservation supplies. Whatever you can get now that's going to benefit you later on, go ahead and make that commitment right now as you're able to utilize it right now, because it's always going to be there for you when you get later on when you get to back to your land. There was a time where we had probably 200 or maybe 300 canning jars, and we'd gotten rid of a lot of them when we moved down here 30 years ago. And now we're having to rebuild our stock back up. We know that we're going to create a garden that's probably going to handle about 40 to 50 jars of canned goods for us as preserved goods that go into the pantry. So right now, that's about how many we've got. As we find them on sale, we continue to buy more. But it's not too big of a priority because we know we've got enough to get us through the first cycle of gardening down here on this property. So it's important to start mapping your strategy for your tool acquisition and purchasing, and ramp it up. A lot of the smaller things are more incidental for purchasing. You don't need to plan them way ahead. It's just as you need them, get them as you need them. The area where you do need to plan ahead is on the bigger purchases. And some of you might think that a rototiller, for example, that maybe cost $1,000 or $1,200 is a big purchase, and it is, but then, you know, we were faced with a purchase of a tractor with lots of different implement attachments to it, which was a lot bigger of a commitment, and it takes more planning and more, you know, time to build up to something like that. Now with our tractor, we were able to find a local dealer that had a zero money down, zero interest plan, to where instead of saving it up a month at a time to purchase it down the road, we basically purchased it and are paying for it a month at a time. And to me, there's no difference either way, as long as you're not paying interest on that money and don't have to come up with a big down payment. It's kind of the same thing. So that's how we worked our tractor deal. So when you see us around here running our tractor and our post-hole digger and the wood splitter, I guess the wood splitter was not attached to the tractor, but as you see us doing all of the things that we do with our tractor, the backhoe attachment, that was all folded into that no money down, zero interest deal that we made when we bought that tractor. And it's new. We were actually looking for something used, but they don't have those kind of deals on used stuff. So anyway, we got the new one, but we got the warranty with it, and we got the at least trouble-free maintenance for a little while on it. So those kind of things. When we bought our sawmill, that was another case like that, where you have to plan ahead when you're purchasing something bigger like that. So anyway, that's the subject for today. Getting a plan together for knowing what you're going to need and how soon you're going to need it, and your priority of what you're doing. So just do that. It may be a pickup truck. You may need a pickup truck because everything that you do is going to surround the need for a pickup truck. and that may be part of your tool and equipment strategy. So really don't leave anything off the table. Just whatever you're going to need, whatever you know that you're going to need, you know, make that part of your strategy to get that. And those things become priorities until you get them. Then you move on to the next priority of the next tool and equipment. So tomorrow we are going to be going into, let's see here, essential skills. There's really only one extremely essential skill that I believe that you need to have. All the rest of them are secondary to that, but that one is an important one. So see you tomorrow. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and a share, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. See you next time.